Will GTA 6 launch on PC day one, or are we in fact in for another extended delay? Well, Rockstar has been painfully inconsistent with their PC launches, and now after a brand new interview with Take-Two's Strauss Zelnick, the debate has reignited in the community. On one hand, inside of the interview, Zelnick makes it sound like the PC market is just too big to ignore, which is actually the exact argument I was making in the last video I made on this topic. Be sure to check that out if you haven't. But on the other hand, Zelnick, inside of this same interview, drops some quotes that definitely make it sound like GTA 6 is only gonna release on consoles at the start. And right now, from what I'm seeing, the community is divided over on X. About 80% of the people think that PC players are going to have to wait, while 20% are still holding on to hope that Rockstar will finally break the cycle and drop this game day one on PC. I think the reason for the split is people are kind of cherry picking quotes from this article to support their argument in one way or the other. So what exactly is the truth? Well, that's what I'm going to be breaking down today. I'm going to go over everything that Zelnick said, what it really means, and then give my honest thoughts on what we can expect with the GTA 6 launch. Before I get started though, I want to give a massive shout out to the channel members. If you want in on these shout outs and even some custom emotes for the live streams, then consider joining today. But let's go ahead and jump on into this interview here. This is coming from IGN. I'll have links to my sources down in the description. The article starts off by mentioning that the only confirmed platforms that GTA 6 is coming to is PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, with the launch still slated to be in fall of 2025. They go on to say it's an omission in keeping with the developer Rockstar's playbook for its previous games, but in 2025 feels outdated. And given the increasing importance of the PC for a multi-platform game's success, is Grand Theft Auto 6's no-show on PC a missed opportunity or even a mistake? IGN says that they put that question to the Take-Two boss himself, Strauss Zelnick. Zelnick's response here was to say that Civ 7 is available on consoles as well as PC, and even the Switch right at launch. But with regard to others in their lineup, they don't always go across all platforms simultaneously. Historically even, Rockstar has started with some platforms and then moved into others. So basically, he's acknowledging that some Take-Two games release on all platforms, but Rockstar has historically staggered its release, which suggests that GTA 6 is still slated to be hit with a delayed PC launch. Later, he was asked how big of a missed opportunity could skipping PC for GTA 6's launch be, and we get a bit of an interesting response here from Zelnick. He says, the PC version of a multi-platform game can generate 40% of overall sales or even more with certain games. Now, this is an interesting quote for him to basically admit that GTA 6 not launching on PC is basically Rockstar and Take-Two just leaving 40% of possible revenue off of the table. The numbers kind of back this up as well, because in another IGN article, they point out that Red Dead Redemption 2 has sold more than 70 million copies worldwide, and Take-Two noted that it is currently seeing the highest level of concurrent players happening on Steam. So with this response here from Zelnick, we really get an emphasis that PC is a significant revenue driver, which could imply that a PC release is inevitable, if not even already in the works. Moving back over into the original article though, it goes on to say that the 40% of revenue being generated from PC came up as a part of a discussion about the current console generation, which apparently has seen sales of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S plummet. Now, I don't pay attention to the console market at all, so I don't know exactly what IGN's talking about here. I thought the consoles sold pretty well. I'm not going to look into it. I really don't care. But this does kind of lead into what they start to talk about for the rest of this conversation here, because they really start to dive in on the whole driving console sales mixed in with the PC platform growth. So let's go ahead and move on into Zelnick. Also in this article was asked, how do you see the current console generation evolving given the decline in PS5 and Xbox Series X and S sales? And Zelnick's response here is that we have seen PC become a much more important part of what used to be a console business, and he would not be surprised at all to see that trend continue. Of course, pointing out that there will always be a new console generation. However, this is him again acknowledging that PC gaming has become increasingly important. And then finally in this article, Zelnick was essentially asked, do you think that GTA 6's launch will have an impact on console sales? His response was pretty simple here. He says, when you have a big title in the market and we have many of them coming, historically that has sold consoles. This is like obviously, and with GTA 6, like I said, being the most anticipated game to launch in like a decade, I wouldn't be surprised if you could directly correlate some console sales to the launch of GTA 6. And this is one of the quotes that the 80% is really holding on to, saying that this is basically definitively saying that GTA 6 is not going to launch day one on PC. And they're basically taking this quote and attributing it to people are going to buy consoles specifically to play GTA 6 on day one, which I'm sure there are some who would do so, but I also think it's a pretty safe bet that if you're somebody just rocking on PC, you're not going to go out of your way to get a console just to play GTA 6 on day one. And then the last question that's being asked is essentially, is Strauss Zelnick and Take-Two concerned about a fall in console sales, especially with factors like tariffs affecting the market? And his response is interesting here. He says, I don't think tariffs are going to be our friend, but I think there will be a meaningful uptick in console sales in the calendar year 25, mainly because of the release schedule, not just coming from us, being Take-Two, but also coming from others. So he's not really concerned about the console sales falling. But then the very end of the quote here, he says that he thinks that the trend you'd want to focus on is this increasing share of the market that is reflected in PC. Like Zelnick pointed out earlier in this interview, PC versions of a multi-platform game can end up generating 40% of the overall sales, or even more with certain games. So if I'm being honest here, I'm kind of in the 20% group. I'm holding on to hope that there is going to be a day one PC launch. It just does not make much sense to me for them to leave 40% of possible sales just on the table for no reason other than they didn't want to develop it on PC at the same time that they developed it on console. I think that we're really in a new generation here of games, and that it would just be absurd to only launch this game on consoles day one, in my opinion. I, in fact, do not have a console, so yeah, I am kind of holding on to a bit of hopium, so I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a console. I would not go pick a console up just to play GTA 6 on day one. Let's be realistic here. There would have to be like a one on the side of the road for me to do that. Like, I'm honestly not going to go drop money just to play a game like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the second trailer that comes out, if we get an official announcement anytime soon. Let me know down in the comments if you guys would be affected by a PC delay, and you know, how you feel about that. Or let me know down in the comments if you know, you're on the console side kind of basking in the glory right now, the very few wins that you do get. And we haven't even chalked this one up as a dub yet. Like I said, we're sitting at 80-20, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. But that's all I wanted to break down today. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. I'm out.